Both the US Senate and House of Representatives have approved legislation to compel the Justice Department to release all unclassified documents related to the investigation into the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
The yeas are 427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
This morning, Democrats and Republicans voted to pass the bill in the House of Representatives with 427 votes for and a single Republican vote against. The legislation has now been approved in both houses, with senators unanimously agreeing to the bill's passage. And it is now up to the US president to sign off on the legislation. Donald Trump had called on Republicans to support the bill this week, adding he would sign the release of the files should the legislation pass. And that was a notable change of course after the US president spent weeks claiming the vote was a hoax led by the Democratic Party. Mr. Trump was a friend of Epstein's, but has categorically denied any link to his sex abuse and trafficking operations. Earlier, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sex abuse ring gathered in Washington, D.C., urging politicians to support the bill and stand on the right side of history.
It is time to take the honest, moral ground and support the release of these files, not to weaponize pieces of the files against random political enemies that did nothing wrong, but to understand who Epstein's friends were, who covered for him, what financial institutions allowed his trafficking to continue, who knew what he was doing but was too much of a coward to do anything about it. This issue was never one that should have divided us the way it has. In fact, it should have united us. Sexual abuse is not a Republican issue. It is not a Democratic issue. It is also not a hoax. We are here as American survivors of a man who used his wealth and power to hurt young girls and women.
We demand justice, accountability, and support for survivors. And we keep getting asked this. What does justice mean, you ask? It starts with acknowledgement. That's the first step. Acknowledge in the face of survivors that this happened and that this is true. Your vote carries that weight. My sister is not a political tool for you to use. These survivors are not political tools for you to use. These are real stories, real trauma, and it's time for you to stop just talking about it and act.
Speaking alongside survivors was Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who hit out at the US president, saying his inaction on releasing the files has ripped MAGA apart.
They are not victims. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free, and he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.